Why are more people not taking her? Do you think they just haven't had the option? They've been flooded with Portalcraft and Runecraft. They haven't been able to take Bloodcraft all day.
Well, I mean, we did see the weird phenomenon of everyone picking Portalcraft for some reason. So I think it really is just coming down to that. Like, players have picked 2 to 3 factions they've practiced with a lot, right? And they're also just not being shown these factions.
That's fair.
I think that people realize Portalcraft is in every option for some reason, so might as well practice Portalcraft, right?
Yeah, it's going to be there. And Havencraft, here we go.
This is the first time we're going to get to see it right at the end.
Wow.
We get to see the final
That left
class.
pick is so good, too.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
Left pick is really good. Heavenly Knight, we know it's great and constructed, but a little bit harder to pull off in Take 2.
He didn't go for it. He actually went for the Night Noise. Okay.
So we haven't talked a lot about Havencraft yet. Envy, talk to us about Havencraft. What are you looking for?
So Havencraft has exceptional bronzes for the most part. They have really good amulets. They have good late game. They're a great faction overall. They probably aren't seen as much because it's a weird faction to practice. But their playstyle is very similar anyway to more controlling factions anyway, like Bloodcraft and Dragoncraft. They can feel pretty similar. So
it's funny to say this, but I remember in times past where I'm just like, Havencraft, and we're going back months and months. Where are all your followers' stats at? Why don't your followers have any stats? Like, we're going all the way up to 5 drops that are 2 4s and things like that. I've got to say the complete opposite now. The stats that Havencraft followers have are just absurd. You know what I mean? We're talking all the way up to Heavenly Knight, 7 cost, 3/7, things like that.
Some huge defense values on some of their followers.
Defense. Gemstone Carapace, this card that was
with
so
the new
unassuming.
expansion, Carapace. Oh my gosh.
Unbelievable.
You've also got Octobishop too. Octobishop we saw him pick up just now was insanely good in Take 2 because it'll constantly heal itself by a lot. If you have to go second, you can use that to get a lot of board control, which is usually seen as a bad thing. So.
Yeah, Octobishop, and we saw how powerful healing could be with like the Ariete, yesterday.
Oh, absolutely.
It just ran away with games where you would Ariete a high defense follower, and that would just shut the door.
Like, all of these cards here are good. They all look kind of unassuming, right? Like, but you've got a removal spell, you've got something that can attack like multiple times, kill different threats. You've got an amulet that can pop out 2 Banes, kind of like a baby Basilisk Rider.
Yeah,
a little bit slower. And
you've
then
got Blackened Scripture, which is a removal spell that is a banish. We've already seen how that could help in certain situations.
Absolutely.
Ooh, we actually picked up Birdkeeping Disciple there. It was kind of awkward to pick, but that's one of the best cards in the entire format. Birdkeeping Disciple is extremely good. 4 point 4/3. Ooh, this pick. Oh my gosh. But that's kind of like the reason you pick Haven is their bronzes are semi-bonkers.
And that's good. I mean, if you're considering Take 2, what are most of your picks? Bronzes, silvers? Like, yes, you can get really good golds and legendaries and things like that, but you're relying heavily on these bronzes and, like, just so many good cards. You've got card draw, removal, Birdkeeping Disciple, White Tiger, both great followers. It's good stuff.
Another Birdkeeping Disciple. It's tough, though, because Temple of Inquisition is actually a very good draw card. And Red Hot Boots is insanely powerful as well. But I think we've already got 1 or 2 Red Hot Boots, so I'd love to see a Birdkeeping pick here.
And White Tiger is just great. It's something that your opponent always has to run into.
It is interesting to think about cards that are 3 for 3/2, as opposed to 3 for 2/3. But White Tiger has caused headaches for some people. Iron Maiden is interesting too, actually.
Definitely
it's very
good.
powerful.
Yep.
With the, I think we lost Tribunal in Take 2, so adding Iron Maiden to it is really good.
I mean,
all
all these
very
picks
similar
seem
to what
good.
you were talking about with Treasure Map, Or locking out followers.
Honestly, I think Treasure Map is super underrated. Okay, I think it's super underrated.
For sure.
The reason I say
it has the option to be terrible, right? Could
of
give
course,
you Phoenix Bruce.
of course,
but
but its only option to be terrible is you played a turn 1 play. You don't get turn 1 plays in Take 2. Like, if you can utilize your turn 1 to give you something that could just win the game for you, take it. Take the option. Why not?
Yeah.
Cost 1. Worst case scenario, you get a card you're not going to play anyway. That's Take 2.
It's a pretty good card, but no one's even being offered the card X, so come on. I know you want to tell the story about how you got Grave Desecration. Yeah.
We did.
Yeah. We're going to hear the Grave Desecration story at this rate.
No. I'm not going to go that deep.
Not again, Exo.
I'll just say Portalcraft, Grave Desecration. That's it. Those are the only 2 things I'll say.
But
that's all you got to know, right?
That's all you got to know.
How could I have that card in my deck? Oh, yeah, Treasure Map, the best card in the game.
That's right, best card in the game.
But what happened with Grave Desecration?
It won the game. Yeah, the end.
I'm trying to get Exo to tell the story again.
I mean,
no, please don't.
Just imagine Portalcraft, right? It trades. You got puppets. Puppets plus Grave Desecration. Game over.
Ooh.
Interesting.
Viscerfil Globe. We've seen a lot of Viscerfils.
100% of the time. Okay.
Which is what makes that the wrong pick, yeah, of course. I think he did go for Chronos, though. I didn't actually catch at the very end if he had a one-drop.
I think it was this.
Was it? Okay.
Yeah. I think that this deck looks great. Envy, final thoughts about this Havencraft list?
Looks awesome. I love it.
Enough said.
A lot.
Havencraft. Yeah. We'll see if Havencraft can take its first win here in the tournament, at least on broadcast. So we're getting to the match very soon. And I'm excited to see this too because, you know, at the start of the day, Envy mentioned this, wanted to see more Dragoncraft, wanted to see more Havencraft to make a decision. And here we see Dragoncraft, I think we all feel, has been pretty successful.
Very successful.
We'll see if Havencraft can do the same.
Honestly speaking, before we even started this Take-Two weekend, we were talking with Envy about the classes and the tiers and stuff like that. Bloodcraft, Swordcraft, Havencraft were what we considered as Tier 1. Havencraft and Bloodcraft have not been picked very much this entire weekend. We've seen even Dragoncraft being picked up and played to a lot of success. This is the first time we've seen Havencraft.
Looks like Ludibrolo is going to answer with Forcecraft on his own end and has early curve stuff.
Yep. Definitely a curve that you would like to start with Forcecraft, being able to be aggressive here. But Belgian, has a pretty good hand too. He's got the Gemstone Carapace early. He's got a Blackened Scripture to take care of something if he wants.
Oh man, this could get pretty bad pretty quick for BELGIANGRUMP. He has to play the Gemstone Carapace, and big thing to remember right now is that you don't necessarily have that Snow White synergy, which makes Gemstone Carapace absolutely crazy. It's still going to be very impactful, but that's one turn later, which means that's one turn more that Ludibrolo can kind of swing.
It's true.
And the Pure-Hearted.
With the hand that I see BELGIANGRUMP have, I probably would have opted for the Blackened Scripture that turn over the Carapace, because essentially you can get the Carapace to pop on the same turn if you play it on turn 3 into the Evolution turn. But it looks like he just wants to get the 3/5 out, like, regardless of what happens, maybe not having to use an Evo point.
Blackened Scripture comes down.
Yeah, see, like, this is what I'm talking about. Just like the other game with ordering, if you think about it, Blackened Scripture on 2, into Gemstone Carapace on 3, both pop on turn 4 in either scenario, and you would have saved yourself 2 damage.
Yeah, which is important, right? Because we talked about if Force is afforded the opportunity to go aggressive, and especially look at his hand, there's some endgame options that are very frightening indeed, you know? If you get yourself too low, and Ludibrolo doesn't have to spend Evolution Orbs doing so, then he can spend Evolution Orbs on these big bombs in the late game, and you are shut out.
Yep, absolutely right. Bird King Disciple coming down now to at least try to give some tempo back to BELGIANGRUMP.
Evolves the Bird Keeping Disciple. Really? Flappity?
Hey, look. All the other bird cards got removed from Havencraft. We need someone who can support the birds, okay?
Yeah, support the birds.
And she is the bird-keeping disciple, okay? So flappity, I'll take it.
Yeah. Keep the birds in your thoughts and feelings.
Yep. Pour one out for your bird homies.
Yeah. Pour one out for your bird.
Bird homies are gone the way of the dodo, you know?
Sylvan Justice seems pretty cool. But what is the real good way to get past this board?
Honestly speaking, this might just be a turn where you don't get full value out of Beetle Warrior. If you look at the hand, there's not really a good option. I guess Ludibrolo could like take a step back from the aggro plan and go with a little bit of card draw by jamming, the Pure-Hearted Singer and the Water Fairy into the 6/2. It's tough. This is tough. Like, this is the bridge that we were talking about. Like, after your aggro with Forestcraft, how do you actually bridge the gap?
All right. Looks like gonna just use a Clash to deal with it.
This is a good effect as well. This allows you to still be aggressive. And you get to keep the 6/6 active, which is massive. This is one of the coolest new neutral cards that they added to Take-Two. It's just, it's kind of weird. You really have to use an Evolution Orb on it, but sometimes it can just take over a game where you don't have an Evolution Orb, both of you don't, and you can just start picking off neutral followers.
We talk about how stats are so important. If a card can make a trade and maintain as high stats as possible, that just adds to the difficulty.
Absolutely. This is a great play. Now, Belgian's got to basically decide, does he want to clear board every turn now? Does he want to start going a little bit back and forth with damage and trading with board? I don't think he can afford to. I think you just got to clear here.
Takes the trade.
Ooh, okay. He's like, you know what? My stats bigger than your stats. Challenge accepted.
I think Beetle Warrior's online now, right?
Beetle Warrior's online with the Airbound Barrage drawn. And honestly, I feel like that's the best option, right? You just smack in. Get your damage on. Yep. Attack with the Water Fairy, bounce with Airbound Barrage. Okay. This works too. Keep more threats in play.
Interesting. Does not choose the Airbound Barrage. Uses the Beetle Warrior for the value trade.
Wow. Okay.
Saving that Evolution Orb is very important because I do think that there are big cards that Ludibrolo has in hand that he would rather evolve to install. So
I can respect this. Plus, you can use the Airbound Barrage on the Beetle Warrior itself to get the damage off of it in a later turn. So you know what? I really like that play.
Yeah. Doing its best Roach Bounce impression.
That's right.
Think of the past.
That's right.
Of the long past in a world different to the world we see today.
All the Bird Bros are gone now, but there are more Bird Bros in hand. It is possible. This might be a good Sonya turn. You've got no other followers in play. Force your opponent to run through the ward. Now, evolving here feels really bad, right? Like, you have to do it almost, right? But it just feels bad. It's your last Evolution Orb. You're on the draw. You had more Evolution Orbs, and now you don't.
Yeah. Yeah, that's going to be real dangerous. The Sonya does make it tough. None of that's going to work.
Yeah, will force an evolve. But as we saw, Mighty Dwarf, pretty good card to evolve. Gets that damage in anyway. I don't know what he's chopping off.
Yeah.
Maybe your head. That's scary.
Chop it.
Yeah.
Was what he said.
Yep.
It right off. Chop it right off. That's aggressive.
It is super aggressive. Chop it right off. What? What, though?
Ask him to calm down.
Yeah. I don't know if that's a question you can even ask a Mighty Dwarf, right? I think he's already swinging and chopping it off before, like, by the time you ask the question. That's rough. Like, you already take the 2 damage before it even, like, you know, does the chopping from what we can see in the animation, so.
Yeah, that's the spit and saliva coming out when he yells, I'll chop it right off.
Yeah.
That's the 2 damage.
That's the fear that he's putting in you. That's what a Mighty Dwarf does.
Already
puts the fear in you.
Yeah. Already put BELGIANGRUMP at 7. So Ludibrolo is just really thinking about how he can close the game out.
I feel like, you know, I know I'm getting a lot of into... Oh,
wow, he's just going to fold.
BELGIANGRUMP just not feeling it. And Ludibrolo.
Havencraft does fall to Forest. I think that was a very strong Forestcraft game. Things that we didn't see, Wood of Brambles, we didn't really see Elf Song. But in terms of just early board presence, the tokens worked out very well. Was able to kind of play his options as he would have liked on curve.
Well, yeah, like you said, the curve just pushed. It just pushed and it never stopped. And the way Ludibrolo chose to use his options.